All right, let's get right into it. You've heard the saying, right? Data is the new oil. But what if I told you that whole metaphor is, well, it's just wrong? Today, we're going to talk about a massive shift in how we think about data, moving away from treating it like some static resource you just hoard to seeing it as a dynamic, valuable product you actually build and deliver. And trust me, this isn't just some techie jargon. It's the fundamental rewiring we need to power the entire next generation of AI. But before we go any further, I want to start with a number, a really big and honestly a pretty sobering number, 70 to 80%. Just let that sink in for a minute. What on earth could this be referring to? That's right. The vast majority, we're talking nearly 4 out of 5 of those massive, expensive tech and data projects that companies pour millions into, they just don't deliver on their promises. There's this huge gap, this kind of broken bridge between all the data we're collecting and the actual value we're trying to get from it. So the big question is, why is this happening? Well, it turns out the problem isn't that we don't have enough data. Oh no, we're drowning in it. The real issue is that our old school approaches to managing it are fundamentally broken. They were built for a totally different world, and they just can't keep up anymore. You know the story, right? We were all told to build these giant data lakes, but more often than not, they turned into unusable data swamps. Our systems are these huge monolithic things that are slow and impossible to change. Different teams are stuck in their own silos, hoarding their own data, so nobody can get a single clear picture of what's going on. And in a world that's moving faster every day, this old way of doing things is just too slow, too rigid, and way too expensive when things inevitably break. So what's the answer? We need a completely new mindset. Instead of thinking of data as this technical exhaust fume that just gets dumped into a lake somewhere, we've got to start treating it like a core business product, something that's designed, built, and delivered for a specific customer with a specific need. And this right here, this is the core idea. A data product isn't just a messy spreadsheet or a raw database table. Nope, it's a complete, polished package. Think of it exactly like a product you'd buy off a shelf. It's self-contained, it does a specific job, it has quality control built in, and there's a team that owns it and is responsible for it. But most importantly, it's designed from the ground up to be easy for someone or something to use. This value pyramid just nails the concept. Down at the bottom, you've got all that raw, messy data, basically digital noise. As you move up the pyramid, you start to clean it up and refine it. But right at the very top, that's the peak. That's the data product. That's where you've transformed all that raw potential into a tangible, ready-to-use asset that can actually drive business decisions. Okay, so what does one of these things actually look like in the real world? Well, they can be a bunch of different things. A data product could be a live dashboard for your sales team, or maybe a perfectly clean, curated data set for your researchers. It could even be a machine learning model that's ready to be deployed to detect fraud, or a simple API that serves up customer information to another app. The key is it's packaged and ready to do a specific job. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because this data product thinking isn't just a better way to build dashboards. It is the essential fuel required for the next huge leap in AI, truly autonomous, intelligent agents. So we've got to make a really important distinction here. The AI most of us are familiar with is what you'd call conventional. It's a powerful tool for sure, but it needs a human in the loop, constantly guiding it. Agentic AI is a whole different ballgame. We're talking about systems that are designed to operate on their own, to make decisions and actually take actions with a high degree of autonomy. And for an AI to be able to do that, it can't be digging through a messy data swamp. And here it is. This is the crucial link. You simply cannot have effective agentic AI without data products. But it's not enough for them to just exist. They need to be what the experts call activated. It's not enough for the data to be available. It has to be ready for an AI to find, understand, and act on, all by itself. So what does activated really mean? Well, it boils down to 4 key things. First, it's got to be discoverable, so an AI agent can find the exact data it needs without a person pointing the way. Second, it has to be interoperable, meaning it can connect to other systems and data products without a fuss. Third, it needs to be explainable, so we can actually trust its output because we know where the data came from. And finally, it has to be governed, with all the rules for quality and security baked right in from the start. It's basically a smart, trustworthy window into your company's knowledge. And you can see how this creates a clear path forward. Step 1. You create these activated data products. This gives your AI agents what's called situational awareness because they're plugging into high-quality, curated knowledge, not just raw data. And that solid foundation is what allows them to make accurate, context-aware decisions at a speed and scale no human ever could. Look, switching to this model is a big change, no doubt about it. But the results? Well, they speak for themselves. This is all about rewiring your organization for a future where decisions are made intelligently and automatically. And the impact is just staggering. For companies that actually make this shift, they're seeing a nearly 70% reduction in the grunt work their data engineers have to do. Think about that. Their innovation cycles are speeding up by 10 times, and their data availability is getting close to perfect. These are not small tweaks. This is a game-changing transformation in creating value from data. So if you're a leader thinking about this, how do you get started? The advice is pretty clear. Don't think of AI as just a way to replace people. Think of it as a collaborator. Position these AI agents to augment what your people are great at. Let the AI handle the high-volume routine stuff, and free up your human experts to tackle the really complex problems. This means you'll need to develop new skills on your teams for managing these systems and set up centers of excellence to make sure you're rolling this out the right way. So, I'll leave you with this one last question to think about. Take a hard look at your own organization. Are you still treating your data like oil, a static resource you just pump and store in a tank? Or are you ready to start treating it like a product, an active, intelligent participant that's actually driving your business forward? Because the answer to that question is probably going to define who wins in the age of AI.